Well, and welcome all to the wide open clothing Oceanic Dirt Sim Racing Events Series. The Australian Sprint Car Championships are back for round number 12, and it's going to be the LCJ Carpentry Hoosier Bash. It's Kokomo Speedway in Indiana in the United States of America, and as you can see, the entirety of the track covered off by that one shot. It is a small track that we've got in operation here tonight. And that means that it is going to be all about setting up those runs. Victory Lane sits down here on the inside of the racetrack. But the big question we're asking is, who is going to run it all the way when we get through to the feature? At the moment, we're just waiting on final updates to hear if we'll have 4 or 5 heats, rather 5 planned to be held. But at the moment, driver counts may be just restricting us from that fraction. But as for Kokomo, where's it situated? J to 0%.
Yeah, it's not too far away from Indianapolis, in the middle of the state of Indiana. Very, very cool little circuit, this one, Kokomo Speedway. Been a long time since we've raced here in ODSE. 2022 was the last time that we ran a race at this track. But this real little bull ring, 1/4 of a mile in length, 400 odd meters. It will be fast, it will be furious, it will be ferocious. And thank goodness the drivers are in the 360s tonight, because if we were still in the 410s, it would be chaotic to go with all of those superlatives.
Yeah, and managing the throttle pressure would have been terrible. But have a look at the water truck that you've actually managed to find on the graphic as well, and the grooves that it's managed to kick into the racetrack as it's out there.
It's going the wrong way. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have a look at the pit lane feed out. He comes out from the outside of the racetrack and immediately turns around and goes in the opposite direction. I'm assuming that's to try and get the water to lay down in the opposite direction as well. That'd probably be a metric to say that running in the opposite direction gets the water to sink into the dirt and the clay just a little bit better, I'd say.
Something like that for sure. They would have worked out which way it does it better, so they wouldn't just do it for a random reason. There'd always be some science behind it. But yeah, very, very small circuit, this one tonight, and it's going to provide some very, very interesting races. As I said, haven't been here for a long time, and out of our field, only one driver that's in the field tonight has won a race here, that being Harry Stewart back in 2022 when we did run the 410 Sprint Car Tour here.
And David Heilemann's actually been the most consistent driver, of course, not in the field here tonight. Neither is Ethan Bastian. And have a look at 3 separate races back in the year of 2020. So it's only been run once since the back end of the first year of COVID. And since then, we've not been back in a very, very long time. What do the field have for us here tonight? Well, at the moment, the heats, we don't know exactly how many there's going to be. We are scheduled to see 5 heats in operation. Whether we will see all 5 or whether or not we'll only see 4, that is a little bit up for debate. That will adjust things just a fraction. But the top 4 out of those heats definitely to advance the A main. The C main will have the top 4 to advance the B main, and the top 4 from the B main definitely to the A main. There may be an additional 4 spots coming from somewhere else. Whether it'll be out of the B main, we wait to find out. 35 laps here for the A main. It'll be a 24-car field. That is the number that we will always be getting back to, no matter what the heat configuration. It will be 24 cars. 34 laps as well is a fraction lower in terms of the lap count here as well, Jay. So it's going to be a little bit quicker in terms of that feature tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very fast-paced as well. The lap times that we'll see will be around about the 11, 12-second mark, so it will be extremely fast. Championship standings also looking very, very interesting at the moment. So this is the standings with 2 drop rounds added in. Ethan Winter leading the way over Clayton Davies and Nathan Vanderwacker, but we saw how quickly that can change over the last couple of weeks. Look, Joel Berkeley, he's come from nowhere up into P5. And if we added another drop round in, which we will start doing in the next couple of rounds, Berkeley's up in towards the top 3, top 4. So it's just going to move and change around so fast.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big thing as well. And we've already talked about it, the lack of consistency that the entire field has run here this evening. Ethan Winter does lead the way, and it's by a significant margin at the moment. 53 points back to Clayton Davies. Nathan Vanderwacker sits P3, Bradley Oldfield P4, Joel Berkeley P5. And have a look at how close they are. In behind him, Blake Walsh. Unfortunately, he's going to miss a couple rounds towards the back end of the championship. And are we missing the number 97 car tonight? It looks like Walsh is actually in the field, so we should be seeing him in operation here tonight. But yes, confirming that he will still have a couple more rounds to miss out of this one. Drivers getting out there to turn and burn. That would be the pit lane exit. The paddock exit on the outside of the racetrack, where that truck did turn around and go backwards and start trying to feed some water into the racetrack. But for now, Jay, they are looking to turn and burn off that top step as they just try to take the edge off and the grip off the racetrack. For now, that is Kokomo Speedway. It is going to be thick. It is going to be fast. And 10-lap heats, we are going to be into those in just a few moments after we get through the qualifying session as well.
Yeah, and the lap times that the guys are doing now in this warm-up, where they're all, I think, getting 2, maybe 3 laps, 10.5 seconds. Ethan Winter's just done a 10.4. So qualifying, we're going to be sub 11 seconds for qualifying times. And then by the time we get into the A main at the end of the night, we'll be still in the 12-odd second bracket. So the racing will be very fast and furious. The one positive about this track as well, despite how short it is in length, it actually has a decent amount of width to it through the corners. So it won't be absolutely horrific for a lot of the drivers if they do end up finding themselves stuck in an awkward position come the corners. Considering how short the straights are as well, they do come up on you very, very quick.
And do my eyes deceive me, or is that progressive banking I see as well?
It does have slight progressive banking, but it's not too advantageous on the outside. But yeah, there is a slight little bit of a progressive bank to it. Something you don't see too often in circuits at all these days. It used to be a lot more common on the NASCAR side of things, but even there, it's very rare now to see progressive banking.
Can we get progressive banking back? Progressive banking should never have gone out of vogue. It created racetracks that were unique in the way that they raced. Just by all you did was just change the progression on the banking, change the starting banking, change the top banking as well. Little bits and pieces like that. You could have a track that had very little banking at the bottom and a ton of banking have a very aggressive progressive banking all the way up at the top, and tracks that started with a reasonable amount of banking and didn't have all that much progression, but some progression up the racetrack. It created unique situations. But the big thing I'll say is on dirt. It's not easy to create progressive banking. That's and have it maintained.
100%.
Maintaining progressive banking is incredibly difficult from a track structure perspective.
Yeah, because it will go away very, very quickly if you have too much of an advantage up high with the progressive banking too. That will be disappeared very, very quickly. So, now race controller just organising a couple of things, and then we will be into the Australian Speedway results qualifying session. 34 drivers, sorry, tonight. So a little bit of a smaller field. There are a few drivers away at the moment, actually racing in the United States. So that's why we've got the slightly smaller field tonight.
How dare they? Sim racing's everything. They're not
That's
allowed
right.
to. They've got to be here each and every. Congratulations to those guys off and enjoying themselves in the real world. And again, as usual, thank you for joining us and gracing us with your presence whenever you are able to. And the big thing, one of the things I like about sim racing as well, and you sort of didn't see it a lot, but it was something that I grew up with as well, was guys missing races because there was a national title on that weekend. There was a family event on that weekend. There was a 60th birthday bash. So sorry, we can't come racing. I love the fact that we get the opportunity to say, hey, life gets in the way. As much as professional as we're attempting to be, there are certain things in life that do come before what we're trying to achieve here. And drop rounds, I think, are one of the biggest integrations to the sim racing world. Now, do my eyes deceive me, or did Joel Berkeley just absolutely hammer the outside wall and have to abort his qualifying lap?
Well, he got that first lap in, so it did count as a 10.43. So even if he did hit the wall, it was a pretty good marker for that first run. And Harry Stewart now, we'll see what he can do on his lap.
Blake Walsh is also out there at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on our previous race winner from Kokomo as he tips it in. Down to 3 and 4. Back to the stripe. He's going to get a lap in for Harry Stewart, 10.464. So he, unfortunately for him, fractionally behind Joel Berkeley. Biggest benefit is he gets another crack at it, and he is continuing to try and rip that top.
Oh, nice.
Have a look at how little wheel input there was. Was an improvement from Harry Stewart. He goes to pole. 4.20 is going to be the new quick time. Cole Ferguson will get out there and show us what he's made of.
Yeah, we'll see what Cole can do. Hasn't had a consistent season. He's had a very, very up and down one so far. So we'll be looking to get some consistency tonight, a little bit off the pace on that first lap. And that's a bit too much there. And this lap will not be an improvement.
I think the big thing that we see from dirt sprint cars that you don't necessarily see from a lot of other disciplines is drivers pushing those margins and making mistakes. It is so hard to drive on the utmost of the limit and be right next to that limit at the top level. It shocks me when you see some of the mistakes, because when you come from the other disciplines, you've got to be smooth, you've got to be quick, but you've got to be disciplined. You've got to be so close and on that fine margin. There is no room for error.
100%. And yeah, you're right. The other side of this too is the track is different, and so different every lap that you do. So understanding that the track has evolved so quickly is that the other key to this type of racing that we don't see in other disciplines as well, which I absolutely love.
Yeah. For Brenton Hobson, he gets out there. I actually spoke to him about this series at length last night. We were up till 1:30 a.m. chatting about racing last night, and a whole bunch of different disciplines with him, which was awesome to see. Zach Rattray won. Unfortunately, he's going to grab the fence, and that will cancel his qualifying laps. Nick Ryan, in the meantime, is out there looking to turn and burn. Fastest lap at the moment, 10.951. We'll see if he can improve on that one. And Ethan Winter has taken the number one machine out, and immediately on lap number one goes to the top end of the timing sheets. By the way, we have a dead heat for second down to the 1,000th of a second. It'll take the extra digit to separate them between Stewart and Bocas.
And Winter went faster again on that second lap, so he's got some very, very good pace in his car. Clayton Davies' first lap will put him inside the top 10 up to 7th. Will he be able to get anything more on this lap? No, that's it. That's done, and that will be session all over. Quick time goes to Ethan Winter once again.
Yeah, and key, Zach Rattray White, no lap time set, as is Cameron De Bruin. So both of those drivers have come from the rear of the field. Ethan Winter, though, is going to get it done in Australian Speedway results qualifying. The BBS Esports driver goes out with a 10.389, the only driver to get down into the 10.3s. P2 separated down to the 10,000th of a second, but nothing separated them between the 1,000th of a second. Harry Stewart gets it done over Colin Bocas by absolutely nothing. Blink and you'll miss it. In fact, blink and you won't even be able to see the difference between those guys. Joel Berkeley from Blake Walsh, your top 5. Bradley Oldfield and Clayton Davies are going to be the top 7 drivers we expected to see them where they are. Brady Baldwin is going to round out P8. Hobson from Darcy Wilson, the top 10.
As we're straight into the first heat of the night, thanks to McSlide Race. Ethan Winter, as we work out there, will start from position number 1. Position 2 will be Blake Walsh with Brenton Hobson and Matthew Stables on the second row of the grid. Bailey Leeson, Daniel Grimshaw will be 5th and 6th. And we've got Ayrton Smith, John Schultz and Zach Rattray White. Rounding out the 9 cars we'll have for the first of 4 heats tonight.
And have a look at how stacked this heat is, by the way, because you just talked about Zach Rattray White. He's going to come from the back. No qualifying time set. Now, you probably expect your 1, 2, and 3 to go to Ethan Winter, Blake Walsh, Brenton Hobson are your 3 at the moment, but Matthew Stables is right there. He's quick enough to automatically qualify. One of those 5 drivers we've just mentioned is going to miss out.
Yep.
And Rattray White is going to come from the rear end of the field. Big thing heading into tonight. We're going to have to keep an eye on our start zone as well. This is 1 and 2. In the background of that shot, you can see 2 tires from the center of the corner and off. You can see one on the right-hand side of that shot, which is over in the entry to turn 3, but it's between those 2 tires in the middle of the corner and the exit to turn 4 that you can see there. So that will be the restart zone here tonight for drivers to keep half an eye on. So for now, we will set ourselves for a start. Pacing lap number 1 of the first heat of the night, and confirmation there will only be 4 heats here tonight. Heat number 5 has been skipped. What that does mean is an extra 4 drivers transfer out of the B main and make it to the feature, which means your night is not necessarily over if you can't get out of the heats. There's a little bit more wiggle room tonight. Who is going to wiggle their 360 sprint car into the feature straight off the cuff? Ethan Winter, first start of the night in his hands, fires it off over in 3 and 4. 10 laps of heat number 1 in operation. The McSlider Race heats Here they come, and immediately for Hobson, straight to the bottom of the racetrack, but it's not worked out for him. Stables and Grimshaw go ripping to the top side, starting to make their way through. Leeson's trying to cut through on the bottom side as well. John Schultz moves his way up to the racetrack outside of turn 2. Hobson gets a touch up in the rear, gets put in the fence, unfortunately for him. A lot of damage on that one. Is that Rattray White? It is Rattray White sending the slide at the bottom. No momentum as he comes off of turn 4, though, as he tried to pick up Ayrton Smith. Smith is going to have it over him at the moment. And Brenton Hobson, it looks like he might have some damage on that car as he's trying to barely hang on to it. Grimshaw at the moment's in that transfer spot, which is where we'll keep the eyes on. John Schultz managing to tick away, and Hobson again just cannot get the power down in that car. Starting to struggle. Rattray White looking for some momentum, moves up the racetrack. Hobson tries to cut him off, puts him in the fence. They're both in the fence, unfortunately for both of them. That'll probably be enough to put them both on the back foot and coming the way through the alphabet.
Yeah, great launch from Grimshaw to get himself up into position number 4. Passing a couple, also back at the start of the race there too on lap 2. Bailey Leeson had an issue with, I believe it was Zach Rattray White, and he's dropped all the way to the back. But Ethan Winter, beautiful launch at the start of this heat. He's broken away about half a second from Blake Walsh, who's stuck with him, but they've broken away from everyone else. Stables dropping a bit further back, but the field is starting to spread. The top 4 look safe.
Yeah, they look safe at the moment. The only question will be, what order is it in? Does Matthew Stables make a mistake with 2 to go as they cross to pick up the 2 to go side? Now it'll be come around and grab the white flag. Ethan Winter's got control of this one, and it's all the way up to the top end of the racetrack as that one starts to get dusty. Well, that water truck that was out there on the graphics didn't necessarily lay down a whole bunch of water because it's starting to dry out. Ethan Winter, though, takes the moisture from the top end of the racetrack to rip through in heat number 1 from Walsh, Stables, and Grimshaw, all transferring out. And there's the rest of the results, Jay.
Yeah, so Winter, Walsh, Stables, Grimshaw through. We'll see Ayrton Smith, John Schultz, Zach Rattray White, Brenton Hobson, and Bailey Leeson in our B and C mains in a little while. It won't take long to get there as we get ready for heat number 2.
Heat number 2 already coming our way. 10 laps goes by really quickly, less than 2 minutes at the pace that we were firing off from. Harry Stewart, and the entire ODSE community wants to tell Harry Stewart that it is in fact race day, by the way. There was a few mentions of that over on the Facebook page earlier today. Bradley Oldfield will line up alongside of him. Darcy Wilson from Matthew Gowans, Paul Bryan and Nash Granger means that this will be a spicy heat as well. Behind those guys, Thomas Mitchell from Nick Mithen and Brad Minshall's your race control for tonight. Not competing in this one, but listed there all the same. That's about the most recognition race control ever gets when they show up in the grid graphic, isn't it?
It's all they get, and they do deserve a lot more than they do get given. The only time I'm usually talking about race control when something controversial happens, so always good to talk about them when it's not covered with controversy.
The controversy is having to put up with Brady Baldwin every week. That
is a very valid point there too.
Is signed up for. So, Brad, we hope that you're listening. We hope that you're having a great night. I'm sorry, buddy. I hope there's a very big bucket of popcorn for you at the end of the night. Is that an issue for Darcy Wilson trying to fire that car off at the moment? No, he gets it rolling. He's okay.
I was a little concerned by that too. But yeah, everything looks all right, thankfully. Interesting to see how much the track has already started to evolve tonight.
Yep.
A little surprised, but we'll see what the evolution of the track does turn out like throughout the night. But for now, it's probably evolved a little bit more than I would have thought.
Well, the big thing is there's still quite a cushion up at the top end of the racetrack, which I think they're still going to be looking for the outside as soon as they get rolling here. Harry Stewart is in control of the field, and Oldfield will be alongside Wilson and Gowans to launch off of row number 2 as they start to form themselves up into the restart zone. And Harry Stewart does get a good getaway, but it's not as big a getaway as Ethan Winter got in the first one. Here comes Wilson all the way down to the middle of the racetrack. Paul Bryan went all the way to the bottom, was able to manage to keep that car underneath him. Now he's going to try and cross him back over and build some momentum off the top step. Oldfield didn't get a great getaway through turn 4 on lap number 2 either. So now he's trying to build some momentum, but the problem for Wilson is it's left him no hole to get back into the top lane. Matthew Gowans is starting to crawl all over Bradley Oldfield, but all of a sudden the bottom's starting to become the place to be. Down in 3 and 4. Out and into the fence is going to be Gowans from Paul Bryan. Both of them feeding a right rear into the fence, but that number 5 machine stuck on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely through 3 and 4, the bottom looks like it is starting to work a little bit, but 1 and 2 need to be up the top, and Darcy Wilson was really struggling to get back in the line. Paul Bryan just behind in 5th position, flipped the wall ruined his momentum if he didn't do that. In saying that, Darcy Wilson's just clipped the wall, and doesn't matter about momentum now. He's right on his rear.
Yeah, and he just about got stuck and up and in the fence as well. Had to check up, and that forced Paul Bryan to check up there as well. So now they're going to try and go battling. And the critical factor here, last spot in the transfers, already through halfway on the heat. We'll be coming up to the conclusion of lap number 6. Thomas Mitchell's just fed a right rear into the fence as he got down into turn 4 at that point in time. Wilson and Paul Bryan are still going toe-to-toe, and Wilson's trying to make the bottom work over in 1 and 2. That's not the place to be, though. The problem is he's trying to cut the line back off. Here comes the slider from the 42 machine. Gets it to the top of the racetrack. Checks the momentum up of Darcy Wilson, and Wilson's forced to go back to the top of the racetrack when he got to 3 and 4 this time. Not enough momentum down the bottom.
Great battle between these guys, and it means a lot to make it straight into that A main. So very, very important to get the move done. But at the front of the field, Harry Stewart's just taken the white flag.
That he has. Here comes Harry Stewart. He's going to lead every single lap of heat number 1, but all of a sudden, Darcy Wilson get up and into the fence. There's going to be a battle on. They're going to change hands for the final transfer spot at this point in time. Drag race to the line. Bryan bounces off the fence, loses it. If Paul Bryan didn't crash the outside fence, he might have had enough momentum to get away with that one, and it's going to be Wilson getting the transfer by a nose hair.
Just 0.04 of a second in the end, separating P4 and P5. But as you said, Darcy Wilson gets through. Paul Bryan will miss out, along with Thomas Mitchell, Nick Mithen, and Nash Granger. We'll see them in the B and C soon. But Harry Stewart, Bradley Oldfield, Matthew Gowans, Darcy Wilson, they're already through into the A. They can sit and watch and wait for that A main coming up very soon. Heat number 3 up next.
Yeah, heat 3 of 4 already on the way. Colin Bocas, after a win earlier in the season, is going to start off for pole position. Clayton Davies will be alongside. Have a look at the stacked heat that we've got for this one. Van der Wack is here and Blaine Nensley. Steve Duff will be the inside of Jaden Russell. And Jaden Russell will be looking at everyone ahead of him and going, it's just not my year. If I transfer out of this heat, it'll be a goddamn miracle, is what he's looking at the moment. 7th spot, Trent Gosley from Cole Ferguson and Cameron de Bruin to bring us up the rear of the field.
100% right. This is stacked once again. So looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And as we saw from that championship standings graphic we looked at before, Clayton Davies is right in there in contention. Nathan Van der Wacker, he always is there or thereabouts, isn't he? He always finds himself in a good position. So this is going to be a very, very interesting heat. And don't forget, Colin Bocas already won a round this season. This is going to be a brilliant one. That battle for the transfer spot is going to be epic as well.
Okay, I've got $20 on something unfortunate happening to Jaden Russell in this one.
Oh, no. Jaden just has nothing go his way. If it wasn't for bad luck, there'd be no luck going his way at all.
At this point in time, he'd probably be betting against himself transferring direct to the feature, which is unfortunately just how his year's going. Either way, Colin Bocas is going to control the restart. Clayton Davies was trying to just take some control away from him on that one, and it's starting to get slick up and in the top lane, all the way to the inside. Van der Wacker got severely alongside of Colin Bocas, trying to rip the fence. Now it's Clayton Davies all the way to the high side, but it's the angle off the exit of 3 and 4. That's what's killing him. Both of them catch the fence as they get down to 1 and 2, and nearly underneath him, Nathan Van der Wacker just about took it away. Who is going to move down to the bottom of the racetrack and start to find the speed? It's the exit, the entry to turn 3 is where they're making all the speed, but there's no grip on the exit. They have to bail on the throttle all the way down there, and nearly Van der Wacker down and into that of Clayton Davies. Davies is starting to lose spots. I tell you what, Steve Duff is up and into a transfer spot. Cole Ferguson's not too far away either.
Yeah, this is great from Steve Duff to get himself right up in there. He's really battling and mixing with these guys, and the 5 at the front really are working hard.
Have a look at the shortcut.
Clayton Davies, what a move.
Yeah, and he's just figured out that the shortest part of around the racetrack at the moment is about how it's going to work out. Look at how little distance he's traveling. He gets completely clear of Bocas in the middle of 1 and 2. 3 and 4, the line's not quite working the way that he wants it. Now he is clear as he crosses the start-finish line. If he keeps wrapping it all the way down the bottom, at the moment, Bocas is going to have to cut this one off, but he can't get down there. Van der Wack is covering the line off. He tries a shortcut a little bit on 3 and 4, minimizes the line as we go to 2 to go. Sorry, it's still 3 to go as we cross the line. Bocas, though, back up to the fence down over in 1 and 2, where the track has flipped. It's now at the bottom of the track, and all that comes from Clayton Davies going backwards and 2 cars into each other. I think that's Ferguson.
Yeah, Ferguson and Steve Duff.
Yeah.
And guess what? Jaden Russell is now in a transfer position as we're about to get the white flag, black flag given to Steve Duff for causing that incident. So he will start at the end of the field come the B. But here we go. Is it going to be Davies? It's going to be Davies over Bocas and Jaden Russell. Wowee. How long has it taken him? It's taken him a few weeks, but he's finally back into an A main.
I thought that was a sure bet on Jaden Russell to get knocked out. Not that I was wishing him bad luck.
No,
but,
he just seems to get it.
I get $20 to bet on things a month. Sorry, I get $20 to bet on things every year. Thanks, Jaden Russell. You've just ruined my betting life for the next year. Either way,
I mean, it was either that or the Melbourne Cup. You would have lost either way.
Clayton Davies gets it done from Colin Bocas, Van der Wacker from Russell Cameron de Bruin, Steve Duff, Kyle Ferguson, Trent Gosley, and Densley not making the end of the heat.
The Heat 4 up next. We've got Joel Berkeley starting position 1 with Brady Baldwin in position number 2. We've got Brock Thompson and Hadley Boyce in 3 and 4. Darcy Walker 5th and 6th. And over page is Nick Ryan and Paul Ward. P7 and P8 for the final heat of the night.
I can't believe we're already going to be through the heats. It's only 8:38 at the moment in Australian Eastern Standard Time. And we are almost all the way through the heats. They are quick fire here tonight. And these guys would have been taking note. The bottom is now the place to be, although I think the middle's probably the best place for it. The tricky part was Clayton Davies read that transfer to the bottom of the racetrack perfectly. But he sort of didn't have a choice. He was trying to run the upper lines, and he just kept falling back, and he just went, well, this isn't working. I'll stick it on the bottom. And he just got a little bit lucky. That's the right time to transfer. So would you say good luck or good track read?
Sorry, I was just fixing a couple of broken things in the back end. I missed half of what you said then, so carry on.
Oh, good. Most importantly, as Joel Berkeley's got control of the field, Brady Baldwin's going to be to his outside. Track has transitioned to the bottom, and here we go for the final of the McSlider race heats as Joel Berkeley starts to rip the bottom. Brady Baldwin's moved to the top of the racetrack, but again, he's just gummed up there. Out there, not really much of a choice. He's got to run the wall because no openings opened up for him at the bottom of the racetrack. Walker's trying to rip the bottom, as is Brock Thompson. Hadley Boyce is the other car in there at the moment that's trying to get the spot away, and Brady Baldwin's gone to run to the middle of the track because he doesn't have any more room, unfortunately. He's got to get lower on the racetrack or he's going to start losing the spots. Nick Ryan's a little bit down there as well, trying to cut that one off. Finally, Brady Baldwin just barely finds a nose to get all the way to the bottom of Kokomo. Manages to get the nose in there, so he'll slot back in a third spot at the moment. They're bouncing, they're bumping their way as they get through the turns, and all of a sudden, it's going to be the 727 of Hadley Boyce who moves to the top side. At the moment, Darcy Walker cannot get it hooked on the bottom.
Yeah, Darcy Walker now trying to get himself back into that top 4 that he was, but Hadley Boyce has driven really, really well in this one, holding onto the position. We're halfway through. How quick has that bottom of the track become? It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes before everyone goes back to the top. But by the time we get into the A main, this track is going to be very, very interesting to see where that fast line is.
Yeah, and it's already transitioned significantly. And in fact, it's not even all the way down on the bottom of the racetrack anymore. At that time, Hadley Boyce has actually gone up and gotten into the fence. It's come away from being the very bottom of the racetrack, and it started to move back to the middle as they have to turn down and make sure they're very, very straight through the middle and the exit. Boyce is starting to find a whole host of speed. Gets to the bottom of Brady Baldwin right now. Did Brady Baldwin transition up a little bit too far and run it through the slick? Yes, he did. Now he's starting to lose the momentum. Walker's going to send it back to the bottom of the racetrack. He's starting to pull back alongside. Final lap of the last heat of the night. And we're starting to rip it around, rip and tear for Brady Baldwin. Can he get it back to the bottom of the racetrack? He's got to get out of this corner. He's got to find the drive. It's just a driveway. It's a drag race to the line. He missed it by absolutely
he got it.
Nothing. Did he get it? Brady Baldwin got it by 7,000ths of a second.
Wow.
He'll transfer straight to the A main on that one. And that is the McSlider race heats over and done with. Reminder, round sponsor tonight on behalf of LCJ Carpentry as well. Berkeley gets it done from Brock Thompson, Hadley Boyce. Brady Baldwin, your transfer spots. Hadley Boyce read that track really well to cut his way through into the transfer spot. Darcy Walker from Nick Ryan, Daniel Boyd and Paul Ward, other drivers who will miss out. And then it's on over to the alphabet. On behalf of LCJ Carpentry, tonight's round sponsor, LCJ Carpentry, run by Liam James, can handle all of your carpentry needs in the Melbourne region with great service, quality workmanship. For any small job on your reno work, contact LCJ Carpentry and they can help you put it all together. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's round sponsor, LCJ Carpentry. C-Main starting grid time brought to you by Apex Civil Solutions, Queensland, Steve Duff from Daniel Boyd, Brenton Hobson, Nash Granger, Trent Gosley, Paul Ward, your top 6. From here on back, we get over to Bailey Leeson and Blaine Densley to bring up the rear of the C-Main. 4 drivers to transfer, 5 will miss out.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, only the 5 missing out. So very, very important for these guys to get into that top 4. Once you get into the B main, the stress can drop a little because there will be 8 of that field that will go through. So we'll lose 4 from this one. I think we lose 1 from our B. I believe we 1 or 3. My maths isn't great tonight. I'm doing way too many things at once.
At the moment, there are 10 drivers already confirmed to be into our B main. 8 of those will transfer out. We'll take another 4 out of this one. So it's going to be 6 in total for the B main that will miss out. Righto, and reminder as well, brought to you for the C main by Apex Civil Solutions in Queensland. And pace car has pulled off down to the restart zone just before we get there over in turn 3 and 4. And Steve Duff gets a great launch immediately, starts to control the pace, but now he's going to try and read where the line is as everyone starts to try and build the momentum. That first line and the lap on the first line, a little bit different as everyone's trying to find some speed. Pace is fractionally lower when you get over to 1 and 2 for the first time. Brenton Hobson, though, had a little bit of a right rear, unfortunately. Touch of contact to Daniel Boyd, but it was clean enough. Both drivers continuing on. Hobson looks like he's locking in for a transfer spot.
Interesting that Trent Gosley hasn't been able to make as many inroads as I was expecting. He is down 1 spot, but Blaine Densley from the back of the field starting to make those inroads. Now, potentially into there, as that's Bailey Leeson around, and that will be his night done, unfortunately. But Nash Granger now fighting with Blaine Densley, who's come from the back of the field for that final transfer spot into the B main.
It was actually Nash Granger that had contact with Bailey Leeson as well, and it was Bailey that actually got up and into Nash. But that checked a little bit of momentum up, and this time through, Densley's just going to rip it and send it up the track, trying to control the momentum. But the key factor for him is he's forced Nash Granger to try and turn it down underneath, and Granger's forced to try and hold the car down, and that's where the problems with maintaining the momentum are at the moment. Big slide, though, for Blaine Densley as he got over into 1 and 2. And that's the problem. He's trying to keep the car down when he got over to 1 and 2. Now he starts to build the momentum and he looks a lot more safe and secure. Daniel Boyd running the safe line at the moment up against the fence. It's just a lot more safe and secure in the line that he is. A lot less risk. Maybe not necessarily the fastest way around, but when you're in a position where you're comfortably transferring through, that's just smart driving.
100%. Maintaining the momentum is just as important as well. So making sure that you maintain that momentum, get yourself through. Number 1 goal is to advance through into the next race. After that, you can worry about everything else. Bailey Leeson 100% done, but with 2 laps to go, Steve Duff is doing this rather comfortably. Don't forget that Duff literally missed out on making it into the A main by nothing. So for him to be in the C main, he'll be looking forward to getting this one off, getting himself into the B and hopefully making the A. Great drive from him.
Yeah, he's going to be, and that'll be a world of confidence as well. Sometimes when you're having a rough night, even though you've had to go the long way through it, going out there and winning in the C main just adds to the confidence pool. Brenton Hobson gets it done in P2. Daniel Boyd and Blaine Densley to round out your transfer. So it'll be Densley from the back of the C main, but the critical factor is he doesn't miss out on the points. He does transfer out, and that is the critical factor.
Yep, so Duff, Hobson, Boyd, Densley through. Up next, though, is the B main. And we better throw to a big thank you to Simrat Market, who present our B main each and every round.
ladies and gentlemen, SimRack Market presents the B Main, and that was the ad from them, as we do each and every week. Always a pleasure to have the number of sponsors, the level of sponsors we've got on board for this one. Anton Smith has pole for the B Main, Paul Bryan, Cameron De Bruin, Darcy Walker. Normally, that's where the transfer spots would end. Tonight, though, John Schultz, Thomas Mitchell, throw it over the page to Cole Ferguson and Nick Ryan, which is where the transfer spots end from this one. Zach Rutt, Trey White, one spot outside from Nick Mithen, Steve Duff, Brenton Hobson, and the final two cars from the B Main will be Blaine Densley from Hadley Boys to come from the rear of the field. And Densley was some work to do, but the biggest thing that he'll be enjoying there, Jay, is the fact that he's only got to get to 8, not to 4.
Top 8 advancing is a big advantage for him in this one, considering we, as you said, we normally would only have the top 4, but a little bit of a smaller field tonight does mean that this race gives a tiny little advantage in how many will progress from it, although in another way you're disadvantaged because we're missing that heat that we would have had earlier, so they probably would have had an extra chance to get through. Either way, it means that this race is going to be hectic, action-packed, exciting. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be very cool to see who gets through. And considering we're going to lose 6 drivers, it's going to be hard to watch someone miss out. But sadly, we're going to lose a few for the night.
Yeah, that we will. Here we go. Feed it over into turn number 4. Anton Smith has got control of the heat from the inside from Paul Bryan. Paul Bryan not able to, unfortunately, get the jump off he would have liked. He's not too far back, though. It hasn't been a terrible get away from him. Darcy Walker's going to try and rip the fence at the moment, right in behind them, and they all start to fan out. Cameron De Bruin's trying to send it to the inside. Unfortunately, not able to carry the momentum. He's going to lose a couple spots as they feed over into 1 and 2. Who's that down the inside? Cole Ferguson's finding a huge turn of speed. He's just able to rip the power on from the bottom of the racetrack. He's actually doing quite a good job at maintaining the momentum on such a narrow segment of the track.
There's massive contact between De Bruin and Nick Ryan, and Nick Ryan's heavily damaged. He will be out for the night. Daniel Boyd also looks like he is done. Steve Duff, the other driver that's making inroads, but Cole Ferguson, as you said, he's gone from 7th now into 3rd and now fighting for the lead. Is he going to steal it? He might be there.
He might have just about been there. 15 laps on this one. We're already going to be on to lap number 5. Blaine Densley as well. Already moved his way up and into a transfer spot. Here comes Ferguson back to the inside. Paul Bryan, though, controlling it from the midpoint of the track. And the track has changed yet again. It's moved back to that midline, keeping up the momentum. Ferguson found some speed on the bottom, but now it's starting to go away. And have a look at Anton Smith, who all of a sudden finds the momentum on the top. He's forced to change to the running line from Paul Bryan as well, as he's forced to go back to the high point just to cover off Anton Smith. Here comes Densley, ripping it around the bottom of the racetrack. And he is literally ripping the inside of the track. I thought we'd gotten tight before, but we were still taking quite a wide arc. He is ripping the bottom of the racetrack.
Last to first challenge, if you don't mind, for Blaine Densley. He's right there, and now he's just got to consolidate the position. He is breaking away from these guys. He's breaking their hearts. Steve Duff is still holding on to that transfer spot for now, but he's feeling a bit of pressure behind those guys. Hobson and Zach Ratro White are battling, but Blaine Densley, what a drive this has been. It's a battle for second from here by the looks of it. He's doing brilliant. Yeah, 5 to go, though.
The big thing is that's 7 spots on the grid for the feature as well that he's actually managed to pick up. Cole Ferguson just about running over the tyres down in 1 and 2 at the moment. Still trying to find his way through. No. Oh, we said it. No, mistake. Mistake. Is he out of fuel? I think he's still got fuel on board. He's managed to flick it back around, get back out on the racetrack. I thought he might have lost drive. He's still got a little bit of time. There's still going to be enough time to try and pick 2 more spots up. Rattray White at the moment, hoping the last transfer spot out of the feature. Steve Duff has been black flagged. He will not be transferring out, which means Steve Duff, after one of the drives of his career here tonight, was looking strong and reasonable, will not transfer. That also means that the transfer spot at the end of this one will go to 9th spot as they cross the start-finish line. Ferguson's back to trying to send it down the inside. The important part, all of these guys are still fighting for the transfers at this point in time. Up at the pointy end, though, Paul Bryan, can he get it done from Anton Smith? Can he get it done from Colton Ferguson? Here we go. Final corners of the B main, and the run to the flag done by Paul Bryan off the top rope.
Look at this.
And it's a battle, and they're going to trip over each other on the line, but they all get there as the critical factor. That was
White and Thomas Mitchell elbowing each other across the finish line, but they both transfer through. Brenton Hobson finishes 9th.
Oh,
your
that
breath.
was a hectic heat, and Blaine Densley did manage to get the transfer after all this one. Here's the drivers who transfer out: Paul Bryan, Elton Smith, Cole Ferguson, Darcy Walker, John Schultz, Blaine Densley, Zach Rattray White, and Thomas Mitchell. Your 8 drivers to transfer out. The drivers to miss out: Brenton Hobson, Nick Millen, and then we get the drivers who didn't finish: Steve Duff with the penalty, not finishing that one; Daniel Boyd, Nick Ryan, and Cameron De Bruin not taking the transfer. Righto, time to chat to the drivers who are going to be taking to the spinny wheel here tonight. And it's going to be the drivers from 5th to 8th. We're going to redraw from Tim Ryan, Craig Dunn, Colin Ferguson. That seems wrong, that list of drivers. We might have a... That's the list from last round. I was about to say, Tim Ryan's not here tonight. He's done really, really well to qualify in 5th spot, though, for the feature, not being here. The ghost of Tim Ryan is quick, we shall say.
You happy with
And
that one?
here we
Does that
go.
look right now?
That looks significantly
Much better, doesn't it?
Jay Kennedy's Jay Baldwin. Gee whiz, putting Jay Kennedy and Brady Baldwin together in the same words is not
I am
good for
offended, and
anyone.
I'm going to mute myself because I feel sick.
Blake Walsh, 2nd place out of the heat here tonight. 4 spots to choose from heading to the feature. How are you feeling about Kokomo?
Oh yeah, we'll be right. We'll probably pull the 8 here, so see how that goes.
Well, you've cursed yourself. You'll only have yourself to blame. Not quite 8th spot. It'll be 7th to roll off.
Oh well, still in the top 10, we'll take it.
We'll take it indeed. 6th spot, Bradley Oldfield qualifying out of the 2nd heat. Brother, it's going to be a 5th, 6th, or 8th. Kokomo, though, she's a challenging little racetrack, and that line's moved a lot already.
Yeah, I don't really know how we're gonna go here. I think I might be in trouble.
Might be in trouble,
Oh,
but
that-
you'll
oh,
feel
okay,
good
no,
from 6th
sorry.
spot on the grid. Won't be an 8th spot outside of row number 4. Or sorry, row number 3.
Yeah, we'll give her a shot here, I reckon.
All right, we'll give the spinny wheel a spin, and we'll give some back tires a spin as well. Colin Bokus is here to spin his wheels and spin this wheel. It's going to be 5th or 8th, so it's either best or worst from this group, Colin.
Sounds good. Let it rip.
Rip indeed. Blue and yellow. It's going to be the blue. It's 5th spot inside of row number 3. Feeling confident heading the feature?
Yeah, we're just going to try and finish. Keep our nose clean. It's going to be tight. Hopefully it doesn't go to the top where you're going to freight train. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to play
We'll
smart.
See how it goes indeed. Thank you very much, Colin. Good luck in the feature. And Brock Thompson,
Thanks, sir.
good news or the bad news?
Yeah.
Good news, you're into the feature. Bad news, it's out of 8th.
Oh, that's all right.
Mate,
I'm happy to be in the feature, to be honest. I'm surprised I'm here.
mate, congratulations. Get out there and enjoy the good news.
Thank you. Thanks.
Ethan Winter, defending champion at the moment. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kokomo, she's a challenging little beast, isn't she? The line's moved around significantly since your heat.
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate there in Heat 1 that it was pretty easy to see where the track was going. It moved around quite a bit there at the end, and it probably will even again in this feature. Just with the lower car count, the track's actually in much better condition than I thought. So, yeah, 35 laps here, you're not going to really have a break. So it's going to be up on the cushion and see how we go.
News for you, rolling off a 4th spot for the feature 2 as well. Go hard.
Yeah, so fun.
We'll take 1 spot further forward. We'll be chatting to Harry Stewart. Harry Stewart, good news, mate. It's race night.
It is, yeah, and I've rocked up. It's pretty great.
You haven't missed one here, mate. Outside pole for you. Feeling confident on the outside?
Oh, look, if I just finished, that'd be just brilliant, to be honest.
That's the focus for a few drivers. Ethan Winter said the same thing, brother. Get out there, go hard.
He's lying. He's lying.
Clayton Davies, 1st or 3rd. It's going to be an inside row start for you here in the feature. Here we go.
Hopefully we do something good.
Bad news. It's going to be green inside of row number 2, but it will be an inside row start. Feeling like the track's moved to the bottom, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be for too long. I think it'll end up going back up the top. But we'll see how it shakes out. Hopefully we don't step on the pecker like we did last time we started behind the 8 ball.
Righto, well, best of luck here, brother. Get out, go hard, and Joel Berkeley, you want the good news or the bad news?
I already know the good news. I've seen it played and drew 3, so that's great news for me.
The good news is that there is a spot in the hauler out the back for you. The bad news is you didn't pass tech. You're not the pick.
Oh, shit. Damn. Well, I called the Team Tinder front row if you go back and chat about 20 minutes, so we called that, so I'll take
How's
that.
this
where we
guy?
get it.
This guy gets the pole every round.
I think it's
crazy.
like 4th or 5th pole in a row, so we'll see if we can actually back it up and win a race instead of going backwards all the time.
Mate, if you applied the engine power to your race car instead of the spinning wheel, you'd do a lot better in the feature.
Oh yeah, I think it pays just to go start pole, doesn't it?
Certainly
say it
not easy
does.
to control. Have some fun here, brother. Go and enjoy.
Cheers. Hopefully I'll talk to you later.
Righto. Starting grid is going to be Joel Berkeley from Harry Stewart, Clayton Davies and Ethan Winter on row number 2, Colin Vocalist from Bradley Oldfield, Blake Walsh from Brock Thompson are going to be your top 8 at the moment. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how they're going to roll away for the feature here tonight. Proudly brought to you by Wide Open Clothing, who have been the series sponsor here this year as well. Cannot say enough about coming on board and supporting the series at large. Big thing is, Jay, I think the changes in 2025 have been that we've got a series here, we've got sponsors each and every week, and we must support them because it's just awesome to have that level of support on each and every week.
Yeah, 100%. It's great that we've had so many brands get on board and jump on and join the series. We're having a round sponsor each and every round is brilliant, and then the sponsors for different races is really, really cool. Well done to Brady and the admin team at ODSE for getting so many different people involved in sim racing. It's so good to watch. It's been so good to be a part of this series, and this is going to be a brilliant night of racing. Here we go.
Here we go indeed. Hoosier Bash time from LCJ Carpentry at Kokomo Speedway. And we are getting set to roll off in the feature race here tonight. 24 dirt sprint cars take to the racetrack. That is the parked at pit lane in Kokomo Speedway. Victory lane is where everyone will want to be celebrating here tonight. And the grid will start off from Matthew Stables. Matthew Gowan are going to be lining up alongside of each other from Nathan Vanderwacker and Hadley Boyce in the field through to 11th and 12th. 13th on back, Daniel Grimshaw from Darcy Wilson. Jaden Russell makes the feature. Let's hope he survives. Want to put points on the board. Brady Baldwin was starting alongside of him. Brady, you might have just cursed yourself with that starting position. Paul Bryan from Anton Smith, 17th and 18th. 19th through to the Taylor field is going to be Kyle Ferguson from Darcy Walker, John Schultz, Blaine Densley, Zach Ratcho White, and Thomas Mitchell has taken the rear of the field.
Another stacked field for this feature race. Even missing some of our big guns, it's still absolutely stacked. So it's going to be brilliant to watch. It'll be interesting to see what Berkeley can do once again from the front. Interesting though, Clayton Davies has missed the start and his car is sitting, you can see it in the middle of the screen, it's in the pit lane.
Yeah, so he's just waiting to roll off at the moment.
I think he's had an issue and they've extended the caution to see if he can get his car out on the track, but because he's missed the start,
I've got to wait.
He's going to have to wait and he'll have to join when once the green flag is flown, which is unfortunate, but it is part of the sim.
Well, that's the thing. You got to be there. You got to grid up. You do miss the starter's call. You do miss rolling out. And I can tell you, I've rolled off of pit lane to start some motorcycle races. It's not fun when you've got to start a million miles behind everyone else because you've missed the grid call at different bits and pieces. Right, it's going to be Berkeley who will lead us off down into turn 3 and 4. Restart zone for the first time for the feature, and he wastes no time in the Tinder machine as he rips and tears. Rips it all the way down to the bottom end of the racetrack.
And they've thrown a caution straight away.
Underway. That'll be to get the car off of pit lane.
Yep. They've thrown it immediately, and I don't think it actually has registered that we've started the race. So Clayton Davies might still be stuck in the pit.
He still can't roll. That's what he just said.
Yep. Yep. And I'm worried that we may have broken the safety car because it did not come out either.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've ruined it. We've absolutely murdered it. And, well...
Let's see if it moves now.
We'll have to watch and wait.
Uh-oh. I think we've broken it.
We have indeed broken it. And the big thing is, not only was Clayton Davies napping, but also the safety car driver was napping. He He's having an absolute nap out there.
You remember they did name the safety car driver, but I do not remember what they
Brian?
named it.
Is it
No,
Brian? Is it
no.
Barney? It's a B name, I know that much. Fred? No, it's Fred.
Fred. Yep, it is Fred. Fred's decided to go and... Oh, of course it's Fred. You know why? Think of a famous cartoon with Barney in it. Not The Simpsons. I'm talking the Flintstones.
Yes.
Who
yes,
was
you
his
are.
best friend? Of course, it was Fred Flintstone.
Well, it was Fred Flintstone that was the main character.
Yep. His
So-
best mate was Barney Rubble.
It was.
Yep. I think we may have a no race happen here because the pace truck is not rolling out and they cannot get this race started. So we may have a non-race.
And the problem is that's going to reset the track state too if we have to reset the server, which is all the work that they've done on the track as well.
Yep.
Unfortunately, welcome to the technicalities of sim racing world. The good news is we still do have the gridding formation, so they'll have to feed that in. Whether or not we do that,
Wait and see what the race control decide to do and how they're going to do
at
it.
the moment. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, instead of just waiting and watching for more input at the moment, we might just go to a quick break whilst we get some more feedback in on exactly what's about to happen. So bear with us for about 5 minutes, and we'll be back with more info.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green. He's got the run, but isn't enough. It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
Well, I put on some music in the background whilst we were all sitting away, and come on down to Kokomo. Why don't you let them go? To Bermuda, Bahama? No? Okay, I'll stay away from the carry. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I'll go Montego. Maybe why don't we go down to Kokomo? Yeah, okay. Cool, I'm glad we got there in the end.
Yeah.
As karaoke
I knew where
night
you were
on
going.
behalf-
I knew where you were going. I didn't mean I liked it. I knew where you were going.
Ladies and gentlemen, we return to action for the Oceanic Dirt Sim events karaoke night. Sprint Car 360s from Kokomo in Indiana, United States of America, as we get set to give you the feature on behalf of Wide Open Clothing. And we're going to get set here. At the moment, the drivers are out there trying to rip the track up to at least simulate the track state as we get set to get ourselves settled in here. So for the meantime, we have ourselves what's going on at the moment. And you can see the cars, the drivers are out there just enjoying themselves, ripping the track up for what we can tell at the moment. We're going to have to reform the grid as well. I do believe it'll be a manual grid form. I don't believe they actually have punched in the driver numbers, so they will form the grid manually.
Yeah, it'll be just like we normally see with our top 10 being shuffled. It will do the same with the drivers that are here, and they will all get into the right spots. I think we've got 22 of our 24 who are loaded in so far, so hopefully we'll see everyone be able to rejoin. Yeah, very, very strange glitch, and one that, look, at the end of the day is a little bit humorous, but it's annoying, but it's humorous.
Look, at the end of the day, I don't know where you sit on the bugs / unintended features line of things, Jay. But at the end of the day, you can either sit here and you can get mad about it, or you can just sit here and laugh about what the silly little things are that trigger problems. One of the biggest problems that became an unintended feature was doubling the horsepower of the Arca Menard not too long ago, and that led to us getting the Gen 4 car. Now, you're probably the best placed person to answer this. Accident or accident?
Well, I can tell you that sometimes things get left in the sim that should never have been touched. There was one season that we saw the V8 supercars be released after a patch with no hard cut to the speed to the limiter, so there was no 7,500 RPM limiter on it, and that was a beast to drive. But it didn't last very long because people reminded iRacing that, hey, this is supposed to have it's supposed to have a hard cut at 7,500 RPM. It doesn't. What's going on? But yeah, there are some things that get tried in the background just to see what would happen, and accidentally get left in. accidentally on purposely get left in. I know that one was an accident. Because they were trying to test something with sound and it accidentally got left in. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether that was a bug that was intended or not, or a glitch that was intended. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, certainly. Incredibly interesting. Well, for now, ladies and gentlemen, they are just about all in the server, and critically,
all 24 are loading in, so everyone's made it back.
Everyone's made it back is the critical factor. Unfortunately, I'm going to be relying just upon the stream information that you guys can get. Jay is working on a method to get us replays at the moment as well, which would be really cool to have a look at. The big thing is you can have a look at...
To make it worse for the night, we've had PCs not be able to get back into the new server either, so you can't get in, and one of my computers can't get in, so we're having a great night, and yeah, the admins are just scratching their head like, what's going on?
You know what? Is the fact that Reese Gardner's not here, is that a leftover issue from the most recent...
It's all Reese's fault. It's all Reese's fault. We'll blame Reese.
Right.
He's not here.
It is Reese's fault. Yeah, it's Reese's fault. It's Reese's fault. We found it, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't Clayton Davies after all. It was Reese Gardner not attending. But
shout out to Reese, who is looking after his beautiful partner, who had some stuff going on today. So hopefully everything's all good in the Gardner household.
This is the AI getting back at us, Jay. That's
yes, it is. It is.
The most recent max bans. You play with the AI and they will get back at you.
Definitely not as intended either.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they are going to manually grid set from here. So what will happen is we will probably extend the caution just a fraction at the moment. Everybody will have been told where their original grid slots were for the feature reminder that we do have the spinning wheel to set the top 8 on the feature grid. They will also be forced to form up into their correct order, so bear with us for a few moments as we do make some manual fixes to an automated system. At the end of the day, this is a good workaround, right? So yeah, sure, we have a problem, but how do you make it right again? And manually setting the grid is the quickest and easiest way to just make it right again. I like that. You adapt. When there's a problem, good racing car drivers go, there's a problem, how do we keep ourselves out there and keep rolling? Good series do exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly right. And being able to adapt. And all of these drivers, excuse me, are used to this sort of thing as well, where they will move around positions and slot into slots that they're not supposed to be in. Actually looks like we might have the grid sorted in the correct order. Berkeley, Stewart, Davies, Winter is the top 4. So they've actually got it loaded in the correct order. So well done. Well done for getting that done in as quick as they did.
Yep, they just jumped straight onto it. Got it all
well done,
done,
Brady.
got it all sorted.
Not bad for a guy that drives.
Whoa. We won't go as far as complimenting Brady.
No, that's the closest he's going to get to a compliment.
Yeah, here we go.
He did break it in other ways.
We waited a long time to get this one underway, and now we are underway for the wide open clothing. Hoosier Bash from Kokomo on behalf of LCJ as well. As they rip and tear around turn number 1 and 2, Berkeley has still managed to hang on to the lead. He's moved to the top end of the racetrack. That slick line has started to form back up there, but you're going to continue to see the track evolution. Who's going to be the first driver down to the bottom of the racetrack that manages to find it and make it work? Clayton Davies was making the bottom work at that point in time as well. Ethan Winters still trying to rip the top up and by the fence as he goes around the outside. By the way, fast repair only open tonight until the end of lap number 10.
Yeah, it'll come by very, very quick, and it looks like the track hasn't quite evolved to the point that we saw in the previous running, but the front 5 have definitely broken away from the rest of the group. Behind this track will change very, very quickly as Clayton Davies tries to get to the inside and see if he can make something work. It's Ayrton Smith.
Oh!
He's upside down. That's his night done.
Yeah, top end ripped off of that race car. He is going to go up and over, unfortunately for him, and bring that one to a very quick conclusion. There'll be fast repairs taken by a few drivers here, including the 75 machine. I believe that's Dan Grimshaw. Will feed off and into pit lane on the bottom of the racetrack. They were just starting to find their groove as well at that point in time. And after having a pace car that wouldn't come out of the pits, it nearly looks like our pace truck driver is he needed a few monsters to get going.
See if this
but once
works.
they got in
Look
there,
at this, it's working.
Yep, there we go.
I've got a cheats way to get replays working, but
It's the 64 machine, unfortunately, tangling with the 75 of Grimshaw, up and over, ripping off wings from both of those cars, but car parked on its lid, done for the day.
and black flag handed out to Grimshaw for causing that incident. He was at the back anyway, but he'll have to drop to the back of the field. But we've lost one. Here we go for the main of the night. 35 laps, as we said, same as last week or last round. Get double file restart, get us back underway.
Already fallen back up, and immediately Berkeley's going to fire us back off as we try to get back down and out there. This time Ethan Winters to the bottom of the racetrack as Clayton Davies has been given the top. Here comes the 51 machine of Oldfield. He's going to try and rip it along the bottom as well. Davies is going to get all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. They're 4 wide in the middle of the racetrack as they try and find some space for them all to move around. The number 10 machine back to the bottom. Ethan Winter continuing to rip the top. 51 of Oldfield's moved his way back up there as well.
Another caution. Jaden Russell, I think, has been involved. Potentially Dan Grimshaw as well. John Schultz. I'm not 100% sure on where that's come from. That caution.
So unfortunately, we'll try and get an eye on it, but that is going to be Jaden Russell indeed diving into the pit lane.
I mean, to get that fast repair done.
Yeah. Have a look at the size of the field as they try and feed themselves through. The shortness of the pit lane.
Love how quickly they're in and out of the pit lane. A whole 8 seconds in the pit lane. 5 seconds in the pit lane for Paul Bryan to get his fast repair done and all complete. Imagine that in like you're doing your F1 pit stop and the whole transit through the pit lane is 5 seconds.
Well, we are going to be setting ourselves up to form up for another start. I believe it will be this time by. We'll be ready for another restart.
Yep.
Indeed, there goes the pace truck, feeds its way back off and in. 6 laps already complete. Sorry, 7 laps are going to be complete as we go back to a restart here in just a few moments. Into the zone, and Berkeley fires us off nice and early. And nearly into the door was the number 1 machine as well. Have a look at Oldfield trying to rip it around the bottom. He's nearly checked him up. Indeed he has, because Clayton Davies had to get out of it. Because Winter had to move up the racetrack because Oldfield was all the way down on the bottom as they're going to try and sling it all the way back to the bottom end of town as well. The 46 machine of Matthew Stables trying to make some ground on the bottom. He's recognised with Clayton Davies that there is some speed down there at the moment, but Davies has lost ground out since the restart. The problem again, they're getting freight trained on the top. It is so quick up at the top end of the racetrack. Harry Stewart won here the last time that this series went to this racetrack, and he's just there and trying to take it away once again.
Colin Bocas back in the field is trying to make the inside work as well. Starting 1 lane up from the very, very bottom to try and make something work. And it looks like it might be for him. Vanderwacker also trying to make some moves as Harry Stewart's hit the wall, but was lucky to keep some momentum in the car. It's given Berkeley a bit of a break, but the rest of the field's starting to close back up again.
And wrapping it back to the bottom of the racetrack. Oldfield swung it from the bottom all the way back up to the top. Trying to find some speed. There's going to be contact. Oldfield's been put into the fence, and it's going to come at the cost of Harry Stewart's right rear.
No caution.
Unfortunately for Oldfield, no caution. They've all managed to keep going. Matthew Stables is all out of shape. Might have got the tyre barriers all the way down the bottom end of the racetrack. They've all managed to keep going. And Blake Walsh, Mr. Consistent at the back end of a feature, continues to cut his way through. 15 laps in the book now. Rapidly closing in on the halfway mark.
And the fast repair window has closed as well. So the car you've got now is the car you need to take to the end. Looks like Jaden Russell is race over as well, unfortunately. So he has ended his night.
Yeah, Jaden Russell, well, the bad luck will continue. It'll be down in 20
At least he made an A main.
Colin Bocas, I think, might be done as well. He has managed to make the A main.
Yeah,
he tries to
Bocas
put some points on the board. Second, the 51 machines. That's Bradley Oldfield still trying to rip it around the bottom of the... Sorry, Darcy Walker and Bradley Oldfield are going toe-to-toe at the moment. It's Oldfield on the top, Darcy Walker on the bottom. And the number 5 machine, Darcy Wilson's also in and amongst the mix. And there goes Brady Baldwin trying to make some momentum around the top of the racetrack as well. Hadley Boyce and Dan Grimshaw are sliding it aggressively on by. And there's the Eclipse Racing machine as well. Rattray White, who's on a little bit of form at the moment, trying to cut his way through the middle of the racetrack. And it's funny because all of these guys, multi-discipline stars, are all able to run in multiple different pro leagues. That takes so much talent. It's not even funny.
Ethan Winters worked something out and did take the lead for a moment. Harry Stewart fires it right to the inside for a huge slider, but not able to make it work. Was able to check Ethan Winter up a tiny little bit, but Berkeley did take the lead back. But Harry Stewart is making something work as Zach Rattray White and Darcy Walker both together at the exit of turn 2. That's a big one.
Yeah, and then we're just waiting for the leaders to come on by, and that looks like Walker's night might be done. Yeah, the right front's no longer on that car, and the left front's not on that car either, so he will be done for the day. I think Rattray White might be able to continue here. It's loose, a little bit of a wiggle.
It's on this next lap. I rewound it a little bit too far, but I thought that's better than not far enough. I've gone back way too far.
Well, there's the fence. That's where he's gotten checked up. Fence again. Now he's trying to find
there we go.
It was actually ahead. And unfortunately, for Darcy Walker, it was that next car on the road, which might have been Brady Baldwin, I think. So unfortunately, no, it was Bradley Oldfield. No, it was the 51. Oh no, you're right. It was the 5.
The 05, isn't it? Is that?
It's the other Darcy.
Who it is.
Two Darcys have gotten into each other.
Yep, you're right.
There's
We're
the
getting
safety
ready
car
to go
back to
though.
the pit lane. And Joel Berkeley will lead us back to green flag once more. 12 laps left to run now as the green flag flies. Here comes Blake Walsh all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to break up that pack that's up and against the fence, and they're all up there. The top 6 were looking to run the outside lane, and Blake Walsh said, I've got to try and break these guys up. He has managed to check out Brock Thompson from the top. And here comes Harry Stewart. He goes bottom to top, and Joel Berkeley just will not lift. He overcommits to the bottom, to the top line, and finds the momentum on again. You are going to struggle to break that number 9's momentum tonight.
100% going to struggle to make him falter this one. He's really got this track worked out tonight. He's done very, very well as Bradley Oldfield's around in the middle of the pack. And another issue.
Unfortunately for him, and Fred's back out to do some laps behind the wheel of the pace car. And for Bradley Oldfield, it's actually from the little group ahead. So there was another incident
there. An issue?
there from, yep. Has he done this all on his own?
It's here through 3 and 4 that he's had the drama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
all
done
by
all on
himself.
his own.
Oh, and then Baldwin gets in there and gives him a little hit to finish it off. Ten to go. So it'll be 9 to go when we restart. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Well, back to single file restarts as we didn't go too far on that one. Means Berkeley's going to have control. 10 to go here from Joel Berkeley, the luckiest man in spinning wheel history. Can he maintain the speed? He's been quick over the last couple of rounds, and he's been looking quick here tonight. He goes back to the top end of the racetrack, and again, Blake Walsh just tries to slot in there. He's going to get dropped that time and fenced. And that comes off the nose of Harry Stewart. No caution flag, though, so we're going to stay green here, but Blake Walsh has lost out significantly. Caution is back out now.
Yep. Yeah, caution came out relatively quickly. It wasn't as quick as we might have expected, but Blake Walsh will rejoin back in 4th. So he's been a bit fortunate there, I think. I wonder if the race control guys are going to have a little look at that and see if they need to issue anything from that, or whether Blake Walsh, how he came back in from that slider, is deemed to be the one at fault and can just rejoin his position, and that race control will be looking at it.
And safety car back out to turn some more laps. There was actually some worries about fuel distance as well in the first session when they threw that additional caution to get Clayton Davies back out after missing the start.
There's obviously a fair bit of discussion going on because race control has just added 3 extra caution laps on this one, just to give themselves a little bit of time to discuss what to do over who caused the caution. Blake Walsh has been given an end-of-line penalty. So Blake Walsh for bringing out the caution, the way he came up the track and made contact with Harry Stewart. Sure, he was the one that went around, but he's the one that's been deemed at fault for causing the caution.
Well, they're all lined up here, and I wonder whether or not that pace track has fed off. I believe
It
it has.
has.
So we'll be back to green flag racing here. 9 more laps left to run, becomes 8. As we're back to the start-finish line, there is only going to be a couple more short runs to the end of this thing. 4 drivers are already out. Sorry, 6 drivers are already out of this one. Only the top 18 remain, and Blake Walsh is going to come from the back of a lot of them. Although he might have some damage after the contact. The last one, Harry Stewart now moves to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to wrap it, see if he can't maintain the momentum, see if there's anything that he can possibly do. But the big thing is, have a look over here in 3 and 4. They're not running the fence all the way around in 3 and 4. And now it's going to be Joe Berkeley who actually moves down the racetrack to cover off those runs. But that's going to leave him vulnerable to the momentum of Ethan Winter, who's come around the top. Now he moves to the bottom. Can't get the rotations. The car was on the backwards banking all the way at the bottom end of the racetrack. And Berkeley just manages to hang on.
Interesting line that Berkeley ran there. It, in the end, paid off for him because he was able to make Ethan Winter try something else. Was able to make that position back. But Clayton Davies and also Harry Stewart have been the ones that have been really trying to make this bottom line work, but it just is not working as well as it did earlier in the night. And Berkeley and Winter, they're checking out from the rest of the field. Also, there was an issue for Harry Stewart. He's dropped back to 9th position. Hit the tyre bundle on the inside.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, starting all his time. 3 more laps left to run here from Kokomo. It becomes 2. They're going to see the white flag the next time they get back through. Joel Berkeley, he wants to see one thing. He wants to see the white flag. Now he wants to see the checker. But the big thing is Ethan Winter's not done with him. Winter to the bottom of the racetrack. Can't quite get there. Berkeley holds the momentum. Now he goes back to the top. Is that too much? Is there some time for Winter to get down underneath him? Berkeley takes it from Kokomo, from Winter and Clayton Davies to wrap it up the podium here. So he'll get to park it up in pit lane. The number 9 started off pole position for your feature. And the wide open clothing, A main. The number 9 is going to take another one in 2025. Although the thing is, I did say to him pre-race, maybe that car didn't pass tech, Jay. Do we have to penalise him? Too much power on the spinning wheel?
He's using all of the power in the spinning wheel to somehow get himself into to pole positions, and it's turning into race victories for him. Joel Berkeley from Ethan Winter and Clayton Davies. This will be talked about for a long, long time. Very, very entertaining race. But I'll tell you what a drive from 2 drivers. Look at position 4, Nathan Vanderwacker. Started back in 11th, gets himself up into 4th. Blaine Densley started 22nd position, finishes inside the top 5. What a great drive. Wilson Thompson, Baldwin Schultz, and Harry Stewart round out the top 10. There's a lot of stories of success and a lot of stories of woe in this one. Oldfield, Mitchell, Grimshaw, Hadley Boyce, Matthew Gowans round out the top 15. Rattray Wyatt, Blake Walsh, and Cole Ferguson, the last of the finishers. Then we've got Stables, Walker, and then Brian, Bocus, Russell, and Smith all did not finish. This is going to be a very, very interesting chat with a few drivers. Clayton Davies is here to have a chat now. And I think we might get started on these post-race interviews.
For that, we will. Finishing out a 3rd spot here tonight, driver the number 10, up and in championship contention. Clayton Davies gets it done in 3rd. Brother, we're going to have to talk about the first run at the feature as well. What happened with trying to get into the sim and get set for the initial start? Because obviously there's some issues going on there.
I honestly don't really know. I loaded into the server and was just sitting on the grid, and then all of a sudden it just booted me back out onto the grid. Like it's happened to me in the past, but like it's been years since I've done that. I've seen it happen before, but yeah, I'm still kind of confused at how that happened because it wasn't. I know that like there's like a weird buffer of like 2 to 3 seconds. If you wait until the last 3 or so seconds, it can sometimes kick you back out. But I always try and as a rule be on the grid with at least 10 seconds to go, and yeah, it kicked me out.
Well, brother, regardless, managed to get back out there tonight. Tricky little thing with Kokomo is that line constantly changing. There was a lot of chatter. It moved towards the top. It did seem to get back up to being at the top end of the racetrack at the tail end there. But the fun part about Kokomo is how much that line does move around.
Yeah, that's a good track for like just a constantly moving track, and we kind of just aim to run the bottom and just kind of stay out of everyone's way. I feel bad for like what happened in the first server. It's you don't want to really ruin anyone's race if they're lined up for a certain feature. But yeah, I tried picking a line that was just going to keep me essentially out of everyone's way, and if it worked for me, it worked for me. Honestly, I'm surprised that that I still picked up a podium. Probably didn't deserve it in terms of speed. The yellows kind of helped brought them back to us in key spots. But no, we'll take it and we'll move on. There's some good championship points earned, and obviously the point gaps increased, but still manageable. We should be able to close them up the next couple of tracks. I feel pretty confident going into Lernerville and the few after.
Well, brother, who would you like to give it a thank you and a shout out to for getting it done here on your number 10 tonight?
First off, I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and sticking around well past bedtime in my eyes. Brady and Liam and everyone in race control, Brad, everyone in race control for, again, trying to put this race through. Again, I feel bad for it. Probably shouldn't have deserved to even be in the field, but again, they're a good league. They decided to do a good thing despite probably not deserving it. But yeah, I'm glad that they could get it through. Comes on people to do with the car. Tanner for sticking up to 3 a.m. to his time, or 4 a.m. his time to help me out with this league and kind of just give me some words of wisdom, tell me to calm down or put my ass into gear and speed up. Blaine, he's always been a big help. Logitech G, Western Machine Shop, CD Cinematography, TPR, Racing, Gauge 7 Designs, 27 Designs, Atlantic Oil, and yeah, thanks for having me.
Congratulations, Clayton. Enjoy celebrating with the team.
Thanks, mate.
We'll take one step further forward, chatting to driver the number 1 for BBS Esports is Ethan Winter. Ethan, that one was obviously a little bit of a false start initially. Settled yourself down in, but the big thing was we just spoke to Clayton about moving around on the racetrack, trying to find that line, and then settling into a groove was the tricky part, because it was, I think, through the middle of that race, guys trying to check that momentum up constantly.
Yeah, I was pretty content on running like a middle kind of cut down lines. It kind of hurt me there starting third on the restarts like 4 consecutive times. So I was kind of fortunate that I could get to the top and not get stuck down the bottom, because I wasn't prepared or set up in any way to run down there. So I guess it's unfortunate that the server was the way it is. I've set up much tighter for a much slicker track. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but no one's fault. Just an unfortunate series of events. Yeah, second's good. Keep the lead in the championship, so happy with that.
Next time out, we are going to be heading our way over to Lernerville. How's the confidence level heading into the back half of the season now?
I'm very confident. Just not with Lernerville. Some of my better tracks are after Lernerville, so hopefully I can just have a decent enough night at Lernerville and carry on to those better tracks, at least for me, into the back end of the schedule.
All right, brother, get the head down. And who would you like to give a shout out and a thank you to before we let you go on P2 to start?
Yeah, I just want to thank Brady and the admin team for kind of dealing with that issue. I know they didn't intend on having that issue, and it is what it is. Thankfully, they're committed to doing what's best for the league, and they put a lot of time in to run this thing. So thanks to them, thanks to yourself for sticking around. Thanks to Colin and my team, and yeah, thanks to Vortex and everyone else that helps.
Congratulations, driver the number 1, Ethan Winter gets it done in P2 for tonight's feature. We'll take a step forward and chat to tonight's race winner, Mr. Man of the Moment. It's the man in charge of the spinning wheel. It's the man with the most luck in the sim and outside of it. Driver the number 9, Joel Berkeley. Joel ended up being back up at the top end of the racetrack, but you had to move around to find the line in that one. And I think critically shut down the runs that were coming. They were huge down on the bottom at phases during tonight's race. But then again, that's just racing at Kokomo with that increasing banking as you move up the track.
Yeah, interesting surface, that's for sure. I didn't, obviously, all week no one expected to race on that much of a hooked up track, but when people miss the grid and do what they did, it sort of throws curveballs, and I think it didn't work out too bad. It just sort of, I don't know, it was going to be hard to get a good track anyway, regardless here. So I think it's probably good with what they had, and they did the best with what we could do. And yeah, just had to start on pole, obviously trying to watch behind, even though you don't have mirrors. Just try and listen to where cars are and know what they're doing to move around in this sort. So yeah, I know, good. Happy to get the win after starting or getting the spinning wheel a few times on pole. We made up for it.
The biggest question I have for you has got absolutely nothing to do with racing, but do you participate in much of the lucky prize spinning wheels anytime you see them at this time, or is it just the spinning wheel here?
No, not really. Only here. Anytime you go casino or something, you get bent over, but that's all right. These things happen, and I don't know. I think it. It's not nothing but luck on getting so many poles, but I don't know. It's pretty. I don't even know. I'm due for a bad run, that's for sure. But if I keep saying I'm going to draw a pole, maybe I will.
Brother,
Calling it in the future.
I think the big thing is a lot of people will sit here and say you get lucky with getting the pole, but the hard part's actually transferring out of the heats, and it's in that prime position. The field has been that stacked this season that just transferring out in P1 out of the heat has been difficult. P2 is often such a good thing, and
like
that's the case of the season. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like the level of competition and the series is probably, I'd say, like I don't follow much of it anymore, but probably one of the best leagues in the world for sprint cars. The level of competition, but yeah, you just got to lay a good qual lap down, and obviously it's heads up, so you got to make sure you do a good qual lap, and if you put yourself a bad lap, you send yourself deep in the end or in the heats, and then you're digging out the hole all night. So thankfully we've been able to qualify okay, and that's probably been one of my killers in the last year. So yeah, we've thankfully nutted that out at the moment, and hopefully we can just keep on showing pace. And I don't know if we'll be able to make a run at the championship, but if we keep showing up consistently and being up the front, we might have a shot at it.
Well, finally, brother, I'm going to leave it in your hands. We're off to Lernerville next time out. Who would you like to thank for getting it done on the number 9 for the Ulick Sim Sports machine?
Yeah, massive thanks to all the boys that help out. Everyone that puts in time and chips in. Me and Brad have been working pretty hard. Coming up weeks of racing to try and get these things up front. And he's had really good pace every week. He's just been a bit unlucky at the moment, but hopefully we can just keep on doing what we're doing and finish off strong to the end of the season. I think Brad's only got a couple more races left in him before he goes and gets married. So hopefully he can get a win or something before the season's over. And yeah, keep doing what we're doing. And massive thanks to you guys for broadcasting, and Brady and his boys for what they do. They're going to be copping a fair bit of flack, I'm sure. And I was one of them as well that copped it to them. But just got to be a bit more consistent on some things. And yeah, massive thanks to them for all they do and everyone that chips in, and you guys for sure.
Righto, thank you very much for speaking with us, Joel. Congratulations on the race win here tonight. We'll see you next time out in a couple of weeks' time from Lernerville. Ladies and gentlemen, updates
I think it's next week.
Next week? Yeah, it might be even next week.
I don't even know.
To the driver standings here tonight. Ethan,
are you sure? I'm positive it's next week. You might have the wrong calendar. Nah, you're wrong. I'm ruining your stream now. Nah.
You know what?
It is next week, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when we had the postponement of
it is indeed
or whatever,
August 7th is the next race at PA Throwdown.
Jeez, you should know better.
Here's the thing. Before I even went and found the graphic, I was about to, I said, Joel Berkeley, in my head, Joel Berkeley said this with such confidence, I don't care if he's wrong or right, I'm going with it. Just to throw it there. Jay has learned over the last, how long have we been working together, Jay? What, two and a half years now?
Actually, yeah, 3 years. 3 years or so,
yeah. Jay has learned you do not give me an inch because I will take it and slam that door open. So
not wrong.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, guys.
Thanks, mate. I did have I had broken the points because the server was changed. I had to redo the points, so that's why when they came up, I was like, looks like the same points that we had before. The night's been that long that they've had to put the lights on at Kokomo as well, but there are the new updated championship standings. Berkeley still in 5th, but that gap, first to second, has extended. It's now at 55 points.
Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for the delay in getting those calculated for you. The calculator was solar powered, and as you can see, the lights are on, so that's why it wasn't working. Ethan Winter still has the championship lead by 46 points, I want to say. No, that's more than that. That's 55 points.
55, yeah.
I got there in the end. 30 points from Clayton Davies back to Nathan Vanderwacker. Bradley Oldfield in 4th spot from Joel Berkeley, who is starting to climb those standings like a rocket ship. Might that be the last time we see Blake Walsh for the rest of the season? Not necessarily sure. Brady Baldwin from Matthew Gowan, Zach Pratt, Trey White inside the 10, and Matthew Stables rounds out the top 10. Next time out, unlucky 13 from Lernerville. There is going to be 4 more rounds left to go, I believe. Or is it 6 rounds left to go on this
Still
championship?
6 to go.
Given how little we know about the championship, you can guarantee that we were actually wrong on that one as well. 6 rounds left to go in your Oceanic Dirt Sim Events Wide Open Clothing Australian Sprint Car Championships for 2025. The Neuropower Awards PA Throwdown from round 13 next Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then.